All righty, and we are live on YouTube. All right, my friends and gems. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started with the information about the stem cell activation patches, also known as photobiomodulation patches. Let me go ahead and switch my settings here. The right one. Hopefully I do. Nope, this is the wrong one. This is a long presentation. Today we're going to be under just 30 minutes here. So let me get the right. Yep, here we go. We're on the right presentation. All right, so I talk about the Fantastic Five, but today we're going to be talking primarily about the mother stem cell activation patch called X39. Before we do that, I want to share some research with you guys so that you can kind of get an idea about what the research shows about these incredible stem cell activation patches. Give me a moment and I will share that screen with you. And looks like I need to move one of my settings over here so that you can see that. Here we go. Now we're set. So right here, this is going to show you a little summary about the X39 study. We're only going to focus today on X39. And this particular study, I wrote a little summary after I read the clinical trial, and it said that the X39, this is from the International Journal of Research Studies in Medical and Health Services. So this was conducted by the Arizona School of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine in Tucson, Arizona. So phototherapy-induced metabolism change produced by the X39 patch, which is a non-transdermal patch. The subjects were 40 to 81 years old. There were 50 subjects in this study. So the conclusion of this study was that the subjects wore the patches for 8 to 12 hours a day for 7 days. This produced an increase in 8 amino acids at significant levels, improvement in short-term memory, increased quality of sleep within 24 hours, and an increase in vitality, biosynthesis of copper peptide production, and increases in neurotransmitters production, and improved metabolism. So that was just for the first study on X39 that I'm sharing with you here today. So what is this X39 and why is it called 39 and not 109? Well, let me tell you, the reason why it's called 39 is because there were 39 iterations of this patch before it was perfected so that it could come to market and would be available to people like you with families like yours. And so we now, as of 4 years ago in 2019, this patch became available. So let me share with you what the X39 patch does. But before I do that, I want to share with you our little disclaimer. The patches, of course, they're not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. That would be your doctor. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. There are no medical claims being made with the suggestions here. All righty. So what does this patch do? So the first thing to note, I've got to share with you, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, we have a great relationship with them. But in the fall of 2023, just a few months ago, they took a position that the claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as drug claims. The FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides such as GHKCU, it's inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can't say that, although we have 90 clinical studies. That's 90 independent clinical studies that were done in the United States, the European Union, the UK, as well as Asia. And we also have 120 global patents, not just patents in the United States, but they're global patents for 82 different countries. You can only imagine all the hoops, all the expense to get approved in 82 different countries and growing. So as of the first of this year, apparently this has changed again where we can say that they're stem cell activation patches, but just in case there's a bot that still hasn't been, the algorithm hasn't been reprogrammed, or there's some agents in the FDA that aren't aware that as of the first of the year that we are now back to being able to say everything that we did before, I'm going to cross my T's, dot my I's until I have a complete green light that says otherwise. So The thing to note is that in 1973, it's like, how are these patches available? Well, in 73, Dr. Lauren Picard discovered that GHK2 copper peptide activates. It's like turning on a light switch. 33%, 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells awaken, turning your genes to a younger, healthier state. How much better can it get? Well, let me tell you, it can get infinitely better, just as if you do nothing, things can get infinitely worse. So now, my friends and gems, we are turning the other cheek and we are getting infinitely better. Stem cells. What are stem cells? Well, they're pluripotent cells. What does pluripotent mean? Pluri means plural, as a comparison is singular. So pluri means many. Potent potentials. So each one of your stem cells, they're like the super smart cells. They're the master cells of the body. They're the ones that hold all of the blueprint, 100% of the programming to form you in your mother's womb, to take you from conception, quite literally from conception until you take your very last breath. And when your mother's ovum unites with your father's sperm, as evidenced by this little animation right here, you have complete information. Prior to that, an ovum can't create a life, a sperm can't create a life. But when you bring them together, now you have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells that begin to form you into a little embryo in your mother's womb. So that 6 to 8 weeks later, boom, 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 we can witness the heartbeat of that little embryo. Depending on if it's a boy or it's a girl, the heart rate's a little faster or a little slower, either 130, 140, or 150 beats per minute. You continue moving on, you continue to grow and grow into a fetus, and then at 36 to 40 weeks, you become a newborn baby. Unless you're an early departure from the uterus, then you're a preemie, and of course you come out earlier. You're supposed to be baking in there for 36 to 40 weeks. You become a newborn baby. Fast forward to 30 years of age, and when you're 30, one incredible thing happens. You have 50% of your stem cells, your original blueprint stem cells, they turn off by the time you're just 30 years old, not because they're damaged, they're destroyed, not because they're disappearing, they simply go dormant. If you fast forward to 60 years of age, from 30 to 60, you have 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90% of your stem cells turn off by the age of 60. Now you only have your 10% little troopers that have been there since conception that are now shouldering the work, the remodeling job of your body inside and out, top to bottom, front to back. It's taking care of all of that until you take your last breath or until you apply a stem cell activation patch to turn on 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells. So think of the body as a house. It's your temporary housing unit that holds the energy, the personality, the being that is you. And if you look at inside the body, you have stem cells that are just very similar to printer ink cartridges. And when you have a brand new ink cartridge, whether it's color or black and white, you can't tell apart the original from the copy. But when you've used up 70, 80, or 90% of the ink in that ink cartridge, just like using up 70, 80, or 90% of your stem cells, and you only have 10% left, now the copy is a very faded version of the original. So how do the patches work? Well, if you touch your body right now, touch your face, touch your neck, touch your armpits, you feel warmth. That warmth, if I were to take your temperature, it would say that you're 98.6 if you're a little on the cooler side. If you're a little on the hotter side, might be 98.7, 98.8 degrees Fahrenheit, right? That temperature is evidence of the electrons that you have inside your molecules and inside of the cells that are inside of your body. And in your blood, you have electrolytes. Electrons, electrolytes, those are packets of electricity. What type of electricity? Electricity is light. Inside your body, you have infrared light. In fact, that's what this picture is showing. It's showing you the electrical conductivity of the body, how we are quite literally light beings, not from a metaphysical, although we've known from the ancients, from the monks, from the mystics of thousands of years ago that we are light beings, but it is scientifically proven that we are light beings. In fact, I have multiple FDA class 1, class 2, class 3 medical devices. And I have a BioWell machine that scans your fingers and it measures the joules of energy of every organ. By measuring the joules of energy on each one of your fingers from both hands, I can measure how many joules of energy you have running through each individual organ and organ system of the body. That light inside of you, your infrared light, not coincidentally, but by the infinite source intelligence design, the sun is 42% infrared light. Our body is infrared light. Our eyes have photoreceptors for infrared light, not for blue light though, but we have it for infrared light. So when you apply this stem cell activation patch, the moment it touches your skin, it activates GHKCU copper peptide, activating the P63 protein. So just on an aside, we have 11 patches. We're not going to talk about all 11 or the Fantastic Five today. We are going to be talking about the mother stem cell activation patch, this first one. Each one signals a different protein to activate your stem cells and to create the cellular repair in your body and the results that we have from each. So if you were to look at a diamond crystal, you would notice that if I were to take a flashlight and if I were to flash a flashlight onto this diamond crystal, you would notice that the light source is coming from the flashlight. It bounces off the diamond crystal, and we are witnessing now the reflection back to our eyes, all the different colors of the prism. So these patches work in much the same manner. This little patch that you see here, that little white dot, let's see if I can stand up a little closer to the camera. That little white dot is a crystal lattice that is set in a very specific geometrical pattern, and it's set to a very specific frequency to create the effect that the mother stem cell activation patch has. So while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, the LifeWave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release. It's tiny little particles, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrum light. This then stimulates the area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects, and variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years. So in that time, there's been very little evidence of any negative side effects. This suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. This is a direct quote from one of our research papers that was conducted in one of the 90 independent clinical studies. So the first documented case of photobiomodulation. Holy cow, what does that gigantic word, photobiomodulation, 7 syllables. Never counted it before. That's a lot of syllables, 7. Well, the first documented case was in 1895. Although we've known that the Egyptians for thousands of years, they've been using photobiomodulation, and there's many other cultures that have too. In 1903, just a few years later, Niels Ryberg-Fenson, he won the Nobel Prize for his research in using red light to treat tuberculosis of the skin. In his experiments with mice, Feinstein found that exposing them to red light reduced both their symptoms and mortality rate from lupus vulgaris. Pretty extraordinary if you think about that. That was just at the turn of the century, 1905. So notice, non-transdermal, these patches, become aware, realize, and recognize that these are non-transdermal. What does transdermal mean? Non, doesn't. Transdermal, transfer into the dermis, which is the skin. So nothing is transferring into the skin. These are non-invasive, so nothing invades the skin. They're organic, holistic, FDA compliant, class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. And we manufacture our products at FDA registered facilities here in the United States. And our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. So we manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. In fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485. That's a quality standard per our scientist, David Schmidt, who was originally under contract with the Department of Defense. He was inventing all sorts of incredible things for the Department of Defense. When they approached him and said, hey, listen, David, is there a chance that you could invent something that would enhance the energy of our Navy SEALs? And so David, being a man of prayer and a man of deep meditation, meditates every day, starts his day with meditation and stays in a meditative state as he puts all sorts of things together. And he had this divine download, and he immediately ran to his lab to test it. And that's when these patches were born. In fact, the very first patch that was ever invented was called the Energy Enhancer Patch. That's right. And the Department of Defense were telling David, it's like, well, right now, you know, we use amphetamines, uppers, energy drinks, and they work, but they're very hard on their bodies. So David invented the Energy Enhancer Patch to enhance energy, to increase heart rate variability, and to regulate the lymphatic system. And they had phenomenal results with them. In fact, a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Jaco was a Black Ops Navy SEAL back when David invented that almost 24 years ago. And he said, yeah, he goes, not all the Navy SEALs had that available. It was only the Black Ops Navy SEALs that had that available to them. Everybody in the, you know, in the military wanted to get their hands on it because they were seeing the results that these guys were having, but only the Black Ops Navy SEALs had access to it. Pretty cool that now you and me, people like you with families like yours, we now have access to this for the cost of 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. Pretty remarkable. So it's important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. So I'm going to mention this at least 2 more times because most people don't think this is a big deal, but it is a big deal because your body is primarily made up of water. In fact, a baby is about 82% water. A 60-year-old is about 55% water. Your DNA is 92% water. That's right, my friends and gems. Water is the primary structure that holds up your DNA. Much like celery, much like plants, the primary structure that holds a lot of plants up is water. We've all witnessed flowers. As soon as they start to get dehydrated, what does a flower stem do? It goes limp, right? Well, your DNA is the same way when you become dehydrated. So at 2% dehydration, guess what? You feel thirst in your mouth. At 8% dehydration, let me show you what happens. This is a properly hydrated individual. So their helix, the DNA strand, looks absolutely beautiful. It's properly structured. It's in place. At 8% dehydrated, your DNA starts to unravel. It literally starts to disintegrate, starts to fall apart. 8%. Literally, the telomeres at the end of your DNA strands, they start to disintegrate and break off, which shortens your longevity. And that is the beginning of disease and all sorts of problems inside of the body. 10% dehydration, you lose your mind. 12% dehydration, your body on the inside, it's like cement. Nothing can move. Hard shutdown, you die. Nobody survives 12% dehydration. So it's very important that you keep well hydrated. The other thing to note about hydration is that when you are dehydrated, just think about 2% dehydration. Your proteins fold in half and they don't work properly. They interrupt something called the Krebs cycle inside of the body. You don't need to know about the Krebs cycle. You just need to know that when you're dehydrated, your proteins fold in half. And if you continue to get dehydrated, then your DNA is going to start to fall apart and unravel. You don't want that. Okay. So the patches are to be worn 12 hours on, 12 hours off. The patch is considered to be a daytime patch, this X39. Some people wear it at night, but it's really recommended to wear it from the morning till the evening. So let's say you start your day at 4 in the morning, like the monks. You're up meditating, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you would put this on at 4 in the morning. You would have an alarm that goes up at 4 p.m. telling you to remove your patches. Most of us, although I do have a lot of friends that get up at 4 to meditate with the monks, it doesn't matter the time that you start, but that you be consistent every day with the time of day that you're applying the patches. So let's say you start at 9 a.m., your alarm goes off, you're brushing your teeth, you're getting ready in the morning, 9 a.m., your alarm goes off to apply the patches, and then 12 hours later, you have an alarm that goes off to remove the patches. Just as you signal the body to have 33% additional stem cells to rapidly repair, restore, and regenerate your body. Then you're going to match it with 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. So the thing to note is, oh, by the way, by the time you're 25 years of age, did you know that fibroblasts begin to decline in their production of collagen? Collagen being the #1 building block protein of the body. It's necessary for skin and all tissue inside and outside of your body. And it starts to drop when you're just 25 years of age. It's no wonder that at age 30, 50% of your stem cells have gone dormant. So real briefly, we're going to talk here about Kathy, who suffered for 33 years from 3 breast implants. She developed autoimmune disorder that was just ravaging her body and giving her all sorts of terrible, terrible symptoms and pain and just really declining her quality of life. It also caused a lot of probably additional wrinkling. Rinking. That's a new word, not Carol. Rinking. Never said that before. But you see, perfection's not required. Rinking. I don't know what rinking. I was trying to say wrinkling. But it caused probably additional. Can you believe I said rinking, Carol?
Oh, yeah, that's a new one.
Rinking. Okay. It must be like really wrinkled wrinkles, maybe. I don't know. Rinking. I'm going to have to jot that one down and use that one on purpose in the future. But Kathy was distraught with her autoimmune disorders. And, you know, when you have autoimmune disorders, you have more cellular damage, you have more oxidative stress. Your biochemistry is really out of sorts when you are suffering with autoimmune disorders. So needless to say, when she started in January of 22, she was just 62. And we told her, take pictures every 30 days. Get a picture now before you get started and every 30 days after. So January, March, she had a significant reduction in wrinkles. Now, she also had a significant reduction in symptoms that she had from her autoimmune disorder too. By June, 6 months on the patches, no wrinkles. Look at how moist her skin looks. And, you know, kind of looks like the Sahara Desert. No offense, Kathy, but kind of looks like the Sahara Desert here. And here it looks like the juicy beaches of Cancun. It's definitely a lot more moist. And in July, she has no fine lines or wrinkles. Well, of course, not only did that show up on her face, as you can see here from her profile picture that we now have, because at the time she would not take profile pictures. She just didn't take pictures of her face. But this is just the evidence on the outside of the massive reparation that went on inside of her body. And so she was restored from that autoimmune disorder. Really exciting. So this is my testimonial. If anybody wants to watch the whole hour on the Wellness Superheroes on YouTube, I invite you to go check it out. It really is quite fantastic. They did a great job. I am not going to bore you with all the symptoms that I had when I was hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. But I suffered a traumatic brain injury, lost 100% of my short-term memory, literally had brain damage, had neck injury, 2 discs, C5, C6, terrible, terrible pain, 24/7, horrible insomnia, double blurry vision, all my skin chemistry, my hormonal chemistry, lost 10 pounds I couldn't afford to lose, had lesions on my chest, on my mouth. It was just an absolute disaster, had 0 appetite. The list goes on and on. I'm happy to say, I lost 50% of my hair. My hair was dry, brittle, and coarse. Again, the list is kind of long. Basically, all this was wrong before. And last July, just a year and a month after I started on the patches, 13 months later, all these things got cleared up. Thank goodness. I'm really most excited to report back that my memory is better than it's ever been. It's better than it was when I was pre-med at USC. It's better than it ever has been my entire academic life, because I remembered, again, my short-term memory was gone when I got hit by the bus. My long-term memory was intact. But I happen to remember after a month of being on the patches that I was in the hospital for a week for eye surgery in November of my kindergarten year. And as a direct result of being on general anesthetics, I suffered a traumatic brain injury. Not enough time to talk about the details of that. I will do a separate video on that. For those of you who are interested, the bottom line was that this was my second traumatic brain injury. So I had suffered 2 bouts of brain damage, one in kindergarten. So therefore, I never had the benefit of my entire full memory, long and short, during my entire academic career. And then the second one was, of course, in 2017. So let me share with you the bullet points and then we'll wrap this up. The bottom line is that the X39 patch, it acts like a catalyst, if you will. It is a mechanical structure. It's a mechanical device. You are the battery with your infrared light. You are the battery that operates this mechanical device. And immediately upon contact, it resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state, regenerates cells by replacing damaged cells, restores collagen, rebuilds scar tissue, reduces fine lines and wrinkles, increases energy, sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation, provides you pain relief anywhere from 50 to 100% within 3 to 4 minutes. It improves your hair growth. My point of impact was the back of my head, the lower left, the size of my palm. For 5 years, it was bald just like your palm is, not even a hair follicle, none of the compound pharmacy, organic formulas that my regenerative medicine doctor prescribed for me, none of them worked until I got on the patches. In the 4th month, I had 70% hair growth in the back of my head, and I had about 3 to 4 inches of hair growth. Incredible. And now I was able to, actually, it was probably close to a year before I could wear my hair up into a ponytail in public, because then it grew like the 7 or 8 inches. So I had improved hair growth for sure. Improved deeper, sounder sleep, without a shadow of a doubt. So we do have a recommendation. We advise you to apply the patches on either your neck bump or your belly button. Those are the 2 spots we had all of the subjects wear in all 90 clinical studies. However, if you have pain, my rule of thumb is point to the pain and patch it. You can take the patch. You have my friend Ron, he had horrible wrist pain. They were supposed to do wrist surgery and insert some rods in there for him. He had wrist pain in both wrists. He simply took the X39 patch, put it here, and in the first day, his pain went away. This is a miracle patch. So point to the pain and patches is a good rule of thumb. Everybody who gets started, we will help you with a patch placing call or a Zoom, just like we did for Carol and for so many others. So we have acupuncture points, traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points that we like to apply the patches to magnify the effects on the body. All right. So again, one little reminder to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water from the time you get up until you go to sleep. If you're 150 pounds, that would be 75 ounces, which is about 2.2 liters of water a day. So we're going to skip the research quote. So for anybody that wants to take a screenshot of that, go ahead, have at it. Again, reminder to drink water. We're going to wrap this up because it's close to the 30-minute mark here. Just as a preface, oh, by the way, are you aware that blue light destroys DHEA? And that this blue light that you're getting from looking at your computer screen, laptop, iPad, notebook, cell phone, not only does it destroy DHEA, which is the fountain of youth hormone, it causes inflammation in the body, it causes insulin resistance, and it actually makes you fat, believe it or not. Dr. Jack Kruse, my mentor, who is a brain surgeon, neck surgeon, spine surgeon, he will tell you it makes you fat. He uses those exact same words. You can look him up on YouTube. He is an expert in photobiomodulation. How much does this cost? Well, if you were to get started just with this one patch for $5 a day, that's $149 a month, you can get started. I can show you how you can get that for less on a Dr. Wholesale pack, and you can save some dollars there. Plus you can get some free product as well. And there are no contracts to sign if you get it retail. Of course, you have to do a 6-month auto ship, but why not have your cake and eat it too if you can? So I'm just going to show you really briefly here. If you want to read our 90 clinical studies, you can't buy anything here. So get back to the person who referred you to this video. They can answer any of your questions, comments, or concerns. They can help you with patch placement. If you're part of my team, or someone that I've either personally enrolled or someone who one of my either managers or directors or any of my brand partners have enrolled you, I'm here. We work as a team together. No man is an island unto themselves. So you can go to startx39now.com and we can show you how you can get on a 90-day trial with a 30-day money back guarantee. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your time and attention. I know you have a choice. There's over 400 hours of YouTube videos that are actually posted every single hour on YouTube. So with that, I will close. Thank you, my friends and gems. Mwah. Ciao for now. Carol, great to see you. Oh, one last thing for everyone on here. If you want to dive in deep and learn about the Fantastic Five, not just the X39, I will be doing an hour information question and answer session at 7 p.m. Just join us right here on YouTube or on Zoom if you are part of any one of 500 WhatsApp groups that I'm available on, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, etc. You can use the same Zoom link to join. If you want to jump on that Zoom, I'll give you the meeting ID. It's 714-794-5626. I'll put it in the comments below on YouTube. And so long, farewell, and ciao for now. We'll see you at 7 if you want to get more information.